Ultimately, as I always say, we are not the passive playthings of history. We are the vehicles through which history manifests. And so in that context, what happens? People become disillusioned and they live in a very hyper individual society, as you were saying, where it's just like, all right, I'm going to, I guess, try to get mine. And so there's people like, get the bag. I'm going to, I'm going to break out. I'm just going to do what I got to do. I'm going to invest in crypto. I'm going to fucking go a 24/7 hustle grind set, right? I'm going to get into finance. Like there's that subsect of people who are just imbibing the ideology still in its rotting, decaying phase. But a lot of other people, like, you're just fucked. And so in that context, what happens is despair, disillusionment, and what happens in an individualist society? People internalize that structural failure as personal failure. And that inward despair turns into self-loathing, self-hatred, recoiling from society, taking the black pill, if you will, or just muddling through your shitty job, and bitching about it online, and then, doing drugs so you can go to sleep at night. That's where this system was always leading. Where we are now is the logical outcome of where this system was realistically always leading. But against that despair is the reemergence of struggle, the reemergence of history, the reemergence of community through organization. That is still there. And what's going to happen in the US, unfortunately, we are not a proactive people. This system is flying off a cliff, and Trump and the techno oligarchs are hitting the gas pedal as we approach the edge. It's going to fall apart. And we've actually seen, and only in the wake of that falling apart is there actually going to be room for the sort of change that we want to see. This is not pessimism or optimism, right? This is realism. It's pessimistic and then it's optimistic. Now, for those of us on the actual organized left, the importance of education and organization is because in the inevitable ruins of that, we got to build something out of it. And we have to have the collective organizational, educational, ideological coherence and levels to be able to be a real political force in the wake of that collapse or catastrophe, right? That's our responsibility. And in the meantime, we have to build community. We have to create psychological and emotional resilience. We have to understand that we are a part of a bigger human story, and our ancestors, no matter who you are, your ancestors fought and overcame enormous challenges that you're lucky enough never have to even think about. And this is our historical moment, and we have to rise up and do our best to steer it in the proper direction. And ultimately, as I always say, we are not the passive playthings of history. We are the vehicles through which history manifests. Our actions, our choices is what posterity looks back on and calls history. So this feeling of just being like a passive, determined, plaything of forces that can never be intervened upon, that is an illusion. We are history. And so that gives me some sense of determination as well, right? Like what we choose to do dictates can influence, at least, if not dictate, how things turn out. And then people in the future look back and call that, historical forces. But that was just human beings acting consciously on their world in the final instance. So yes.